Aujourd'hui, je vais parler de whether being a millionaire is still being celebrated in the US, whether it's worth being celebrated, okay? Or more specifically, does that sentiment even matter if you are trying to retire early? Yeah. Hey, Zenpuk here. So I'll link the story in the description below, but the basic gist of it that I read is simple, okay? Hey, apparently 1 in 6 US households are millionaires, so that means there are 22 million, 22 to 24 million of them. So then if being a millionaire is so common these days, is it still worth, celebrating? Is it a big deal? I mean, honestly, do millionaires even feel rich these days? Well, I'm certainly not representative of every person, but I am uniquely representative in some ways in this instance because I am, of course, one of those millionaires, and so is my wifey, actually, on her own. So, in a way, we are exactly the type of a-holes that are dragging up the average for the rest of the countries, if you want to think about it that way. But today, I'm actually here to defend the validity or feeling of achievement that this milestone actually brings, because I find, what I find really amusing is that amongst the super savers and frugal-minded FIRE people amongst us, there's a growing trend of people who are just crapping on reaching that initial 7-figure mark, right? And people putting it down because it's becoming more common. There's comments like, oh, who cares about hitting 1 million? It's not even rich these days, blah, blah. And frankly, I cannot stand that kind of commentary, right? So I'm gonna do my own rant and break down my rebuttal to that type of ideas. Anyway, if you're intrigued by what I might say, please subscribe, like, comment, share, and all those social media buzzwords, or whatever, because I'm rich enough for me, and I'll be great regardless. So my first point, okay, so 1 in 6 are millionaires. That's still rare though, okay? That's still a minor minority. Sure, not as rare as it used to be, but that's just how inflation works, okay? Yes, a millionaire is not worth the same in 2025 versus, a decade or two ago. So what? How many friends do you have? Ask yourself that. And then go ask all of them. Count how many millionaires there are in your friend group. I'm gonna guess not a lot. Probably barely a few. So even 1 in 6 households means the vast majority of people have not hit this, landmark, okay? Jesus, most people still live paycheck to paycheck. You think they actually have any money? Just listen to how most people talk, right? Always chasing the latest iPhones, always trying to one-up their friends due to FOMO via social media, absurd expectations about how life should be due to addiction to social media. Good Lord, I'm so glad that many people cannot get away from the disease that is constant expenditures. I mean, after all, the spenders of the world literally are the ones supporting my early retirement life. So yeah, as much as their habits aren't mine, I'm not going to try to dissuade the masses, because the masses will always be, well, poorer, right? That's reality, and none of those people will ever be millionaires, even with the diluted definition that it has become, okay? My second point, to be clear, a lot of those people who are paper millionaires simply have a great deal of wealth stuck in their home equity. Specifically, it's equity in their primary residences. Now, from a FIRE perspective, we make a distinction between our net worth and our FIRE number, right? In the sense that your FIRE number usually don't include equity you cannot make money off of. So if your primary residence happens to be a single-family home, let's say worth 500K, that whole amount is usually not counted in your FIRE number, but feel free to count it in your net worth, right? In comparison, if you own, let's say, a duplex that's also worth 500K, your net worth might be the same as the previous scenario, but your FIRE number would actually increase by maybe, say 50% of that 500K, because a duplex can actually make you rent money all year. My point is, net worth in a primary residence is mostly useless for most people, right? And any cursory glance at the stats will show you that for most middle-income families, their houses usually actually represents the vast majority of their net worth. So your house and its recent run-up in worth is what got you past the 7-figure mark for a lot of people. Cool. Congrats, right? But understand that that's where that majority of the net worth is, right? It is a type of essentially forced savings plan that has no practical use until you sell the house. But if you do sell it, you might need to buy another place that's potentially equally expensive. Now, I don't know. This is the United States here. We're fixated on owning our own homes, but that's a different topic in of itself. I'll probably address that in a different day. Now, finally, the reality is that human beings are simply, we like round numbers. So while inflation beats down the value of that 6 zeros at the end of your net worth, it's still a nice round figure we can all look forward to, and it's still more money than what most people will ever have, right? So my suggestion is simple. If you you think reaching a million doesn't mean anything, okay? Maybe you say, hey, instead of a net worth millionaire, it's, not good enough anymore. For FIRE folks, maybe you can aim for a liquid millionaire, right? Which means you have that much in investments that can be quickly turned into cash if need be. So in that way, you can ignore most real estate, or even better, if you want to be very aggressive and compare your personal fortune with how a millionaire used to feel back in the days, whenever that would be, just aim to be a liquid multi-millionaire, okay? There's no end to this. But even say, let's say, if you want to make that market instead of 2 million, certainly that goal can feel special. But since 5 out of 6 people can't even get to 1 million, the number of people that could reach 2 or 5 million and onwards will rapidly decrease, resulting in the psychological exclusivity that, those people who crap on being a millionaire probably really crave. So in conclusion, do I think being a millionaire is a big deal? Hell yeah. I wanted to shout about it from the rooftops when I got there, except that I didn't because I knew it would sound like bragging, right? And guess what? We can still use that same type of reaction to judge how we are, right? Because do you hear normal people in society just casually dropping their 7-figure net worth in everyday conversation? I personally have never heard that, and I now live in a neighborhood where even empty lots are selling for like $1 million, right? So I know people around me are probably millionaires, at least by the same method of their household net worth, right? But they still don't talk about it very openly because they know they're the exceptions and not the rule. Not to mention, you simply cannot spend your home equity easily anyway. So being house rich doesn't really mean too much to the day-to-day lives of people who only really are rich on paper, rich, right? Because of the house. That's reality. So do you agree with me that hitting millionaire status is still a nice milestone, or am I off my rockers? Or do you want to simply increase the goalpost? Either way is fine with me. Anyway, feel free to yell at me below. Till next time, cheers. I'll approach it.